Happy Mardi Gras. Welcome to today's Personal FX.
And a happy Mardi Gras to you too, John.
Thank you.
Our guests are relaxing in the living room. I saw an interesting doll over there. Also, there is a stuffed rabbit. And then there is a New York Yankees print for those of you who are Yankees fans. These items, as always, are going to be praised on today's show. And we never know which ones are going to be up for sale, do we?
No, we sure don't. And in our continuing efforts to celebrate Black History Month, today we're going to be talking about Black Mardi Gras collectibles, and we're going to be talking about the roles that Black Americans have played in this very historic celebration.
And I.O. Haynes is in Chester, Connecticut today, which is nearby New Haven, Connecticut, and we're going to be seeing a super collection of photographs dating back to the early 1800s. And John, we're really going to be getting a lesson about the history of photography in the process.
Let's get this thing going. Personal FX is next.
Those soldiers never die. Island.
Welcome to today's Personal FX. Glad you have joined us. I am hanging out with one of the wonderful people who have come by to have their items appraised on today's show. This is Frank. Hi, Frank. How are you?
Good morning. Doing very well. How are you?
The reason I picked Frank is because just a second ago when the music was rolling, he said, well, that was pretty good. I'm pretty impressed. So I thought, well, I'll go to Frank here. What are you going to have appraised today?
Got a set of Wedgwood plates.
Now, what do we know about these? Where'd you get them?
Well, I picked these up in a garage sale for 75 cents a piece.
Is that right?
Yeah. Have not been able to find out much about them because they weren't a general production plate. So I'm hoping to find something out about them.
I hope we can tell you. Glad you're here. You and your wife are from Gainesville, is that right?
Gainesville, Florida.
Welcome. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
If you'd like to be a guest in our FX department, it's real simple. Just give us a call at Sprint-sponsored 1-800-FX-FX-FX1 number, and we will set that up. All right, let's go out to Chester, Connecticut, where I.O. Haynes is visiting with today's Super Collector. Hi there, I.O.
Hi, John. How are you?
Good.
You know, our super collector says that photographs from the 1800s provide not only an insight to the early American photographic industry, but also provides a link to our American past. And I'm with Will Schaefer. Thank you for having us, Will.
My pleasure.
Will, what attracted you originally to these photographs?
Well, I'd been a photographer and had dinner at a friend's house one night. I'd never seen anything from the early days. I saw one of these and I was so taken by it, I wondered why I was photographing anymore.
Did you stop for being a
I stopped
photographer?
photographing at that point, yeah. It was just so terrific, these things.
So it led from you being a photographer to being a collector.
Becoming a collector and dealer of early photography.
Well, we're very happy for you and for us today. John and Claire, when you see this collection, you are going to be astounded. We've got fantastic pictures from the early 1800s.
Astounded. I can't wait.
Astounded.
All right, I will check in with the two of you a little bit later on. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
All righty, let's get into some appraisals. Claire, you have Kurt and the gang over there.
Certainly do, and Kurt brought along a photo. Good to have you with us.
Thank you.
And we also have Ron Norris and Susie Anderson. Good to see you guys. Now, this is a New York Yankees
Yes.
picture. Are you a big Yankees fan?
Oh, yes, ever since childhood, because another network used to own the Yankees, and where I'm from in Pennsylvania, that's the only baseball team you could see. So, plus the fact my father was a Yankee fan.
So you grew
I
up
had to
liking
be.
the Yankees.
Absolutely.
Where did you get your photo?
This came from my father's tavern. It's a promotional giveaway by Ballantine Beer. I don't even know if Ballantine's in existence anymore. Anyway, they gave these out as promotional items.
Right. Well, what you've got here is a super collectible. It's a cross collectible. We call a cross collectible. Not only is it something that a sports fan, particularly a New York Yankees fan, would go crazy for, but also it is a Ballantine beer ad as well. So for someone that collects Breweriana, this is fantastic for both parties.
And Ballantine still around or not around?
I don't believe Ballantine's around. Maybe, but I just don't think so. I don't know. But and if it isn't, that makes it worth a little bit more because it's one of those breweries that's out of existence now. The good thing about this is it depicts the 1949, 50, 51, 52, and 53 World Series teams. And, you know, you've got Yogi Berra, Mickey Mantle, I guess, is there. I'm not sure who else I didn't read down here, all these guys. You've got a lot of Hall of Famers. This is the marketplace for this. This will not sell in Dallas, Texas as much as it will sell in here. Why? Yankees and Ballantine was a New York area beer. I wouldn't be surprised if this tops $150.
On this show.
Yeah.
Chances are they distributed a lot of these at the time.
Yeah, these were giveaways.
These were
promotional
common
giveaways,
to taverns.
Right, but a lot of them did get thrown out, and this happens to be in very good condition, and that's the other thing that's nice about it. This is in very good condition.
In that price range, would you like to put it up for sale?
Oh, of course I'll accept offers.
Well, of course, we'll let you know at the end of the program what happened.
Okay.
Thank you so much for visiting today.
Thank you.
And our number to call is 212-802-0082. And Tony is joining us next with a wonderful doll. Hi, Tony.
Hi,
Do you collect dolls?
I collect Madame Alexander dolls.
Ah, and is this a Melon Medic?
No.
Okay, first in handling one of these children, back of the head. If you have to turn her over, put your entire hand over the face to turn it over to protect it. Go to the back, and it is a German doll, M-A-D-E-M, not Madame, Madame. And it's mold number 390. Now, unfortunately, is what not to do with one of these dolls. The
What's the problem?
condition is very bad. The eyes have to be reset. They are inside, which means her wig has to come off and it can be replastered in. Note, she has broken teeth.
She's going to the dentist?
She needs to go to the dentist. Composition body, which is very, very dirty and has to be professionally cleaned, plus finger loss.
Wait a minute. Let me ask you, when you got the doll, was it in this
I
condition?
found it in the attic.
Okay.
Oh, you just found her?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is another problem. I can smell mold on this doll. Dolls or any collectible should never be kept where you're not comfortable. In other words, you're not comfortable in an attic or a cellar, so your collectible should not be there.
What do you do once the mold smell
This
is there?
has to be professionally cleaned to have the mold removed. And in as-is condition, and I myself am a collector of this vintage doll, I wouldn't pay any more than $75 for this doll to restore it.
Yeah, the restoration cost is really what's going to hurt you here, and I'm not sure as a collector, I might not even want to invest 75 because I really don't know if there's any other really bad
But
damage.
the good thing is, Tony rescued the doll from the attic, so she was lonely in the attic. Were you thinking about putting her up for sale?
Sure.
Okay. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And now let's toss this over to John.
Well, Claire, you know, today is Fat Tuesday, which marks, actually tonight would be the end of Mardi Gras, and tomorrow begins Lent, which is Ash Wednesday. They're expecting 1 million people tonight in the French Quarter in New Orleans. Now, the interesting thing about Mardi Gras, this is Mardi Gras number 298, and the parades began in 1837. However, blacks didn't get involved until 1901 with a group called the Tramps. They later became the Zulus, which today are the most prominent black group when it comes to Mardi Gras. But we'll learn all about this a little bit later on. In the meantime, let's get a preview of the next item to be appraised on today's show. Out in Connecticut belongs to John. Hey, John, what do you have?
I have an antique walking stick here, a solid gold knob, and it was made by the PFS company. And I'd like to have it appraised on FX.
Hi, I'm Charles Shaughnessy, and you're watching FX, TV made fresh daily.
Iams understands that the simple act of petting a dog can make people healthier and happier. It's even been suggested that people who own dogs lead longer, fuller lives. Now, knowing what dogs do for you, wouldn't it be nice to do the same for them? You can, by feeding your dog Iams every day. It's more nutritious because its quality ingredients are more digestible. Iams dog food, good for life, from the Iams Company.
Your child has a fever, and you have to take her temperature where? But a Braun Thermoscan instant thermometer takes the temperature here in just 1 second, safely, accurately. Your whole family will love it. Braun Thermoscan.
Is your family a blur on weekday mornings? This weekend, slow them down with hot, fresh Pillsbury cinnamon rolls.
So that's what the family looks like.
What's new in potty training? New pull-ups training pants. Totally redesigned to motivate training as no diaper can. They're trimmer with new big kid designs for boys and girls, like real underwear. And now there's just as much protection as a diaper. Diapers can't give your child that big kid feeling. Pull-ups can. And that's the best motivation to train there is.
Mommy, wow! I'm a big kid now.
To some people, leasing is a 4-letter word. Actually, leasing is a 7-letter word. If you ever had a car that needed lots of repairs and had no warranty left, you're probably familiar with plenty of 4-letter words. When you lease a new Pontiac, Olds, or GMC, you could always be driving the vehicle under warranty. And hold on to your spark plugs. All this at a payment you can afford. Once you lease a car or truck from Wentworth Motors, you'll swear by it. Wentworth Motors.
Temperatures keep getting lower, and so do the prices at Madison Mazda Mitsubishi. Get this 97 Protege with $700 cash back and 4.8% financing. Or this 97 626 with $500 cash back or 4.8% financing. With financing as low as the temperature, you know the deals are hot. Like this 96 Millennium with 4.8% financing and up to $3,500 cash back. And check out our full line of Mazda trucks. With low prices and even lower financing, nobody beats the Madison Mazda Mitsubishi price. We're dealing!
Welcome back to Personal FX. Hanging out with Stephanie Ann. What grade are you in? And what do you collect?
Barbie dolls.
Yeah, how many do you have?
A lot.
A lot, and where do you keep them?
In my playroom, basement room.
So your friends come over, you play with them?
Yeah.
But you brought in a rabbit today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? And you were telling me during the show, John, she's got a live rabbit at home.
Ah.
What does a live rabbit look like?
Just like this.
Just like the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? You take good care of your rabbit?
Yeah.
Okay. She's going to be finding out more about this rabbit, though, in a moment. But John, I asked Stephanie, do you want to be a super collector someday?
No, not really.
Why not?
I don't know.
Yeah, not going to be a super collector.
Well, you know, Claire, we had a rabbit on the show yesterday, and I never mentioned this, but it had lips on the front. I thought that was so odd. Does this rabbit have lips?
Yes, painted on, pink and red.
I don't get that. I mean, it's nice and everything, but the rabbits, I don't know. Anyway, we'll find out more about that. In the meantime, let's get a preview, or let's go out to Connecticut right now where John has joined us. Hey, John, how you doing?
Not bad today. Yourself?
Good, good. Tell us more about what you have there.
Okay, I have an antique walking stick. It has a 14-karat gold, solid head. It was made in 1888 by the PSF company. It is dated right on the top of the cane here. And it is a black Irish thorn wood. And there are initials on the top, which are AC. And I just wish to have it appraised today on FX.
Let's do it. What do you two think?
Well, AC is the person who owned that cane, or that walking stick, and that was typical of the workmanship at the turn of the century and in the 1880s. So he's got it dated quite well. Now, are you sure that that is a solid 14-karat top rather than plated?
Yes, sir. It was brought to a jeweler yesterday, and they did the abrasive test on it. And I also, you know, while he was testing it, I noticed the exquisite handcraft in the item itself. All the raised designs
work
here are intricate and none of the same.
Right. It's all done by hand, and it's called repoussé work. And it's very nicely done. And if it is solid gold top, that alone is going to bring the value up to about $500–600 for that cane.
Yeah, these canes go anywhere from $300 to $500. Depends a lot on condition. The condition looks great on this. You've got a real nice find there.
So you agree about $500–600?
I'd say 3 to 5, I think.
Okay. What do you think, John? You want to take some bids on that? You want to hold on to it?
Absolutely, sir, I do.
All right, let's see what happens. Thanks for bringing that by. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, and that number to call in case you want to place a bid is right here, 212-802-0082. Stephanie Ann has now joined us. Glad you're here today, Stephanie Ann. Nice to meet you. Now, tell us again where you got this rabbit.
I got it in a place called Sally's Alleys. She sells old stuff. And
Sally's Alleys. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Okay.
What do we have here?
Well, this is basically a stuffed rabbit, and I would think that it's got some age to it. I'm looking at the 30s. Yeah,
right.
Isn't it amazing?
Looks very 30s to me.
And probably something that was a Beatrix Potter type of thing, Peter Rabbit inspired.
The Velveteen Rabbit was very popular in that time frame, and that's basically what he looks like. He has been redressed, And he does need some cleaning, but that's okay. No problem. Painted on features with button eyes. Very prevalent from that period of time. A little repair has been done to the seams in the back, but still, all in all, in good shape and valued at about $35 to $45.
Yeah, I would think about $25 is pretty good for this, and actually for the age and everything, it's really not in all that bad a shape, which you have that going for it. But I would change the clothes and try to get something that matches just a little bit nicer
To one of the
in the long
storybook
run.
characters.
Right.
And the lips are in good shape, too.
Yeah, they're supposed to be there. And very much like the cartoons and comic books of that period of time.
I see. Okay, well, what do you think? Do you want to take some bids on this? See what happens. I bet it goes higher than that. Can I just say that? I bet if somebody places a bid, let's see what happens. Thank you so much for bringing that by, Stephanie, and well done. That is terrific. All right, up next is Pam from Gainesville, Florida. Hi, Pam.
Hi.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Glad you're here today. Tell us what you have. What is this?
This is a vase that I found at a flea market in Florida about 10 years ago.
Is this Roseville, or do we know anything about
Yes.
it? It is?
Looks typically Roseville, doesn't it?
John.
Very good.
And underneath, of course, we're going to look, and it has the standard Roseville mark here.
Right.
And then usually they had an incised number. That was the mold number. And then the 7 would indicate how high it is. So they usually put the inches in height on it as well, or diameter. So in this case, we can identify this as being a piece of Roseville. This is the pine cone pattern, and I believe that came out somewhere in the 1930s.
1931.
1931.
Comes in a number of colors, and blue is the favorite with collectors.
Yeah, and pine cone is one of the most collectible of all the patterns that they had as well. So you've really got a nice piece here. And it's not cracked, it's not chipped, and that helps always, particularly with this type of pottery for collectors.
Right.
And the Roseville market in this area right now is kind of softened a little bit. It was hot about 5 years ago. It was going through the roof. It's kind of softened, but I anticipate that it's going to maintain itself and continue to escalate as more and more collectors get into this particular area. Agreed?
Agreed, but this one still is very popular, especially in, like, my area, Monmouth County, New Jersey, and still will sell for $175 to $200.
Absolutely guaranteed, yeah.
Absolutely guaranteed is what he's saying. $175, $200. Do you want to see if anybody wants to buy it?
I'll entertain some offers.
Let's entertain some offers, see what happens. Thank you so
Okay,
much for bringing that
thank
by.
you.
Appreciate that. Okay, up next is Frank with the plates. Hi, Frank.
Hi.
Everything going okay?
Going very well.
Glad you're here today. Now tell us more about these and what little we know about them.
Well, I picked up these plates along with 2 others at a garage sale for 75 cents a piece. I picked them up originally because the other 2 that aren't here had dog pictures in the center. They were very similar to these. Turns out they were commissioned by the American Kennel Club, and I have no idea on where these came from. One of the ships is the America. They're historic American sailing ships.
Yeah, they're each different. This one says President, that one says Union. What do you have
this
there?
one here is the America.
Okay.
Right, and these are very typical. This is the Ranger. Now, whether this is for the America's Cup, I have no idea. What we need is the viewing public to tell us what these were issued for. These are 20th century, and I know Wedgwood has issued special commissions in different eras, and what I always do with my clients is get them in the ultimate marketplace for that collectible. In other words, if it's a special issue, let's say for Smith College, we call the Alumni Association, get an ad in the paper, and they skyrocket in value. Not knowing who these were made for, it's an educated guess, but if we can't hit it here on this show, I don't know where we can hit it.
Yeah, one of the things that you also look for, this is a decal transfer, okay? They do such a good job. When you look for that, all these rigs, you want to make sure that everything here matches up, that there's not a change in the pattern, okay, because of the way that the decal would have overlaid. A lower quality manufacturer would allow this to go into the market. One of the things you'll find with Wedgwood is they do not allow that. So the quality here, again, is typical of the Wedgwood fine china that they make.
Well, what do you think then in terms of value?
Not knowing anything specific.
Minimally, I will say $50 a plate. If we know specifically what it was made for, it could be a lot more.
Right, right.
Okay, so we can
we're kind of waiting on that.
consult anybody in the audience who might have further information.
Yes,
is
we're
that right?
commissioned to have these done.
But at this point, we're hearing about $50 a plate.
Right.
Is what we're hearing. Okay. What do you think? You want to take some bids, or do you want to?
I'll entertain offers.
Let's see what happens. Thank you, sir, for coming by.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go out to visit with Isle Haynes out in Connecticut. Going to give us a sneak preview of today's super collection. Isle?
Hey, John, you know, American photography began around 1840, and there were 3 ways to capture photographic images back then. There was the daguerreotype, the ambrotype, and the tintype. Well, when we come back, we're going to find out the differences between the three and show you some beautiful photographs from the mid-1800s from the super collection of Will Schaefer here in Chester, Connecticut on Personal FX.
On the next Family Business, meet two 12-year-old girls who use CPR to save a life.
And we'll talk to some parents about the trials of step-parenting.
Plus, prepare your family for a new edition. This is Monica.
Family Business, today at 3:30 through 30 Central.
Every town has its share of conflict.
I'm a transsexual.
My daughter's in his class. Every town has its share of tragedies.
Is he going to die?
Dear God in heaven. And through all the struggles,
I don't even know who you are anymore.
every family must find a way to triumph.
The good in this world still outweighs the evil.
The people, the problems, the solutions. Take a look beyond the picket fences. Now also playing every day at 1 p.m., 12 Central.
Delivering pizzas is a whole nother culture. I mean, my car is my castle. And the more they tip me, the quicker it'll get paid off. That tip was $1 and change, which is pretty standard. Thanks a lot. That tip was a big round 0. Well, I bought my Saturn because it handles great. I like its ABS and traction control. $16.95 is your total. I've never had anybody come to the door naked. I've had a woman come to the door with a bikini on in the middle of winter, and she was awful cold.
Another reason to switch from this freeze-dried to dark, rich Folgers Crystals. Folgers looks more like dark, rich ground roast. It's fresh brewed coffee made into crystals. Folgers Crystals. See the difference in an instant. Yet another reason to switch from this freeze-dried to dark, rich Folgers Crystals. Folgers looks more like dark, rich ground roast coffee, but the freeze-dried costs about $1 more. Folgers Crystals. Pocket the difference in an instant.
Introducing Kids Cards for Valentine's Day. Heartfelt little wishes for kids to give and kids to get. And they're kid price at just 99 cents each. Because we know you've got a lot of love to give.
You can learn a lot when you read the labels of the foods you buy. Same is true with your fiber therapy. If you read those labels, you'll see Citracel is different. Fiber powders like Metamucil contain psyllium that can ferment in your system to initially produce gas. There's one exception, Citracel. Its special fiber doesn't produce excess gas. So what's your choice? Psyllium or Citracel? Try Citracel. Effective relief without the gas.
FX would like to introduce you to a real-life hero, someone who can overcome life's obstacles.
He loses and gets hurt all the time. He picks himself up and tries again.
Someone who faces challenges every day.
We knew it wasn't going to be easy in a regular high school.
And someone who never gives up.
You have to believe in yourself.
Corky Thatcher of Life Goes On. You don't have to have superpowers to be a hero.
Okay, I'll remember that.
Everyday life, everyday heroes. Every day, life goes on. At 2 p.m., 1 Central, only on FX.
All right, today's FX Collector Speak Word of the Day, Talbotype. It was a print from the first photographic process that used a negative. It was patented by William Henry Fox Talbot in 1841. And even though the daguerreotype, thank you, was more popular than the Talbotype at the time, the Talbotype provided the basis for modern photography. And we'll be learning more about that in just a second.
We'll be learning if there was a daguerreotype.
That's right. Right.
now that we know that, let's tell you about the items that we know right now are up for sale, starting with the New York Yankees print. And John, it's a cross collectible because it falls into the area of sports memorabilia and Breweriana. Giveaway by Valentine beer to taverns in good condition. It is worth $150. And we also have a German doll. I need to pick her up gently. She is not in the best condition. She needs some attention from an eye doctor, a dentist, and somebody to restore her. In the condition that she's in, $75. Now, it might cost even more to restore her, but then she'd be worth a whole lot more if she was restored.
Sure.
So in this particular condition. And we also have the walking stick, which dates back to 1888, PSF and Company, solid gold top, 14 karat, and we're talking a price range of $300 to $600.
And we also have the stuffed rabbit, and this is from the 1930s. Good shape, and the clothes have been changed. This was appraised at $25 to $45 right there.
Cute.
Lips and all. And we also
You like those lips, right?
Yeah. Well, we learned now that they were based off a lot of storybooks from the 30s, and that's why they have the lips. I knew there was something to that. We also have the Roosevelt vase. This is the pine cone pattern, very popular, one of the most popular patterns there is, and this was appraised at $175 to $200. And then we have the Wedgwood plates. Now, there are 4 of these, and we're not sure what these plates were made for. We know that they're from the 20th century, and they were appraised about $50 each at this point. But if you know what they were made for and you're watching the show, hey, fax us, give us a call, let
I
us
have
know.
a feeling by the end of the show we're going to know.
I sure
Somebody's
hope
going
so.
to call us.
That's right.
But if you'd like to call us to bid on any of these items, here's what you do. The number is 212-802-0082. I do have a daguerreotype at home.
Oh,
That's
do
how
you?
I learned about daguerreotypes.
Daguerreotypes. Daguerreotypes. Okay, well, let's go learn some more. I'm sure Io and William know all about it. Io?
Well, I don't know all about it, but William definitely does. And you know, it's amazing because we know a lot about modern photography, but we don't know about the beginning. So we'll tell everyone about daguerreotypes.
Well, one of the first processes was a daguerreotype, and it was a photograph made on a copper plate which had been coated with a very thin layer of pure silver. And the sizes that you normally would encounter were the 6 plate,
Okay.
quarter plate over here, a half plate, and a whole plate.
Now, were each of these sizes more expensive?
Yeah, the 6 plate was probably a 1/6 the cost of a whole plate. It used about a 1/6 the materials. But by the time you got into a whole plate, you rarely encounter them today because nobody could afford to have them made back then.
Now, do we owe a lot of our
We owe everything
to this man?
This is Louis-Jacques Monde Daguerre, and he's the inventor of the daguerreotype process.
Now, the process was very dangerous also.
The process was extremely dangerous. It was the daguerreotype, after you exposed it, you had to develop it over the vapors of boiling mercury.
Wow, that doesn't sound very good for the photographers at all.
Not very good for the photographers at all. They, many of the early photographers, particularly those who practiced the daguerreotype, ended up going blind or crazy.
Wow. Is that why they introduced ambrotypes?
Yeah, that was one of the reasons. The ambrotype came along, and it was considered to be a faster and quicker and less expensive process.
Now, this looks like it's been colored, or was there...
Yeah, they often, even with daguerreotypes, would hand-apply color to make them more lifelike.
Wow. Now, this piece here...
Yeah, now this is an ambrotype as well.
Is it damaged?
Well, no, it's not really. It looks it when you see it against light.
Right.
But an ambrotype is a picture on glass, and when it's backed with black, you suddenly see a positive picture.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
So this doesn't make it less desirable that the black that was originally there has been broken off?
No, not really. No, this is one of those few cases where the photograph is easily salvageable when it looks terrible.
Now, what year was the ambrotype being used?
The ambrotype was invented in 1854 by a man named Cutting. The tintype, which was in process right after the ambrotype, was invented in the late 1850s by a man named Hamilton Smith.
And these are examples of the tintype.
These are examples of the tintype. The tintype in a case would look exactly like the ambrotype tonally. But the tintype is the same process, only instead of on glass with black backing, it's on a piece of black tin.
And again, colored.
Again, this has been colored just to apply some color to the pants, give a sense of realness and life to the picture.
Now I think that the glass would be very fragile.
The glass would tend to be fragile in the ambrotype, and they would often break, and that was the reason that the ambrotype was short-lived, and the tintype came in very quickly afterwards.
Now, is it usual to see only indoor settings and portraits?
Well, usually in any of these early processes, all you see is an image, say, of an aunt or uncle that is so stiff and stern-looking that you never would have wanted to jump into their lap. That was largely due to the length of exposure time, and also the fact that the paying public was who was paying to have these pictures made. So to have something like that interior, that's very unusual.
No, what about this? This is an outdoor scene. Speaking of unusual, then.
That's unusual, too. The outdoor daguerreotypes you don't encounter very often because it required the daguerreotypist to take all the equipment with him.
No cars back then.
No cars, no simple transportation, nothing like that.
And it looks like the water is actually flowing over the falls there.
The exposure would have been probably about a second, and that would have been enough to give that beautiful movement quality to the water that you see there.
Okay, so when does this, all three processes become available on paper?
Well, paper photography was simultaneous with the daguerreotype, but not really in America. It was practiced widely throughout Europe.
Okay. So what about these then?
Well, this is a Talbot type, which
Oh.
is taken by the English inventor of photography.
This was our collector speak.
They tended not to be as successful as the daguerreotype initially because they didn't have the sharpness. They did, however, allow you to reproduce photographs, and the quick improvement on those was coming up with glass negatives in 1854.
These two here.
And these, this is by Andrew Joseph Russell. It's taken during the Civil War in 1863. This is also by Mr. Russell, taken in 1869.
Now, there's some yellowing. Is that
Yeah,
due to...
this has not survived in the best of condition, unfortunately. This one of the Civil War is really what we like to see a print look like today.
But I understand that this is still your favorite, even though it has a little imperfection.
It's one of my favorites. This is a very historic moment in history. It's the joining of the Transatlantic Railway in 1869 at Promontory Point, and you have here a man celebrating with a bottle of champagne, and all the various people had gone out to the festivities, just standing around for this moment when the United States was joined for the first time by a rail system.
Well, I have to say thank you very much for showing us this collection.
It's been my pleasure.
Oh, it's our pleasure, really.
Well, I wanted to ask William about the value on some of these items. Can they be pretty valuable?
Yeah, photographs can be all over the map. A lot of the value will depend upon condition, rarity, subject matter. Things that are in bad condition often get hurt on the value. Condition is extremely important in early photography. Most of what survived didn't survive in good shape.
I see. Okay. Well, that I think answers it for me, because I thought I saw in some of your photographs the founders of FX, and I was just wondering if that was that was valuable. Thank you, Io. Thank you, William. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
And now we know there is a Mr. Daguerre. There was a Mr.
That's
Daguerre
right.
who invented daguerreotype.
That's right. All right, folks, stay with us. When Personal FX returns, we are going to continue our celebration of Black History Month by looking at some Black Mardi Gras collectibles. Stay with us.
Heads up! There you go. That was graceful. Hi.
Mom,
You guys taking a break?
we are now. Come on.
Perfect timing.
What do you got? Let's see. OJ, purple stuff, soda. Any Sunny D? Yeah, plenty. Perfect.
Good stuff, too.
Not bad, huh?
Yeah. Already looks better than your room.
Sunny Delight, the good stuff kids go for.
Not impressed with pasta anymore? Then break the monotony with Mrs. Paul's on one tray in no time, with fish sticks, breaded and grilled fillets, all from the kitchens of Mrs. Paul's.
Weatherman Normie's report is looking stormy, with heavy precipitation and leaks flooding low-lying areas. But wait! Huggies Ultra Trim diapers are moving in with the improved leak lock system, up front for boys and in the middle for girls. Even after a downpour, there's hardly a leak. And Normie gives the soft cloth-like cover thunderous applause. The cast looks bright thanks to Huggies Ultra Trim's outstanding leakage protection.
One call to Big Powderhorn Lodging gets you. If it's in Big Snow Country, our getaway planners can book it, rent it, and buy it for you. Big Powderhorn Lodging. Got a phone?
Seems like Personal FX is just everywhere. In fact, next week we're going to be in Daytona and Orlando, Florida, and we are booked. What that means, no more guests for appraisals on location. But for those of you who live in San Antonio, Texas, we're stopping by the week of February 24th, and Portland, Oregon, March 3rd through the 7th. If you're a super collector, if you're someone who has an item and you're dying to have it appraised, here's what you do. You call a Sprint-sponsored number. That's 1-800-FX-FX-FX1. And welcome back to Personal FX. Elaine is finally here visiting us to have an item appraised. Yes. Different from watching every day.
Oh, yes. Quite an education from watching your show. It's like antique school, I call it.
Oh, good. Let's go back to school and find out about your plates. Where'd you get them?
They were in my family for about 50 years, and I got them about 29 years ago. And I looked at the beautiful pictures on them, the paintings, and I looked at my beautiful daughters who were about 4 and 6 at the time, and I said, I better put these away quickly before something happens. And so I had them put away, packed away. I never used them, and I took them out.
And what are the markings telling you?
Well, they're American. They were never meant to be exported, so they don't have a country of origin at all. The back, it just says warranted 22 carat. Now, that is a term that was not used in the United States, marked until late 20s, early 30s.
That is correct, right. So we're pretty confident of being able to date these, and I would say they're probably late 20s or early 1930s. One of the things that intrigues me, if you take a look at both patterns, and Susie, maybe we can put these both together, this way or that way. There we go.
No, they won't break. Since the camera's right over here, why don't we put it this way?
Is that the subject matter is so different?
They are different, and this one...
I'm sorry, I have 9 more.
You have 9 more.
All with different subject matters. And this one is printed on the bottom, Angelica Kaufman, who was a famous painter at this period of time. However, these are just copies. And where you would find these, most probably in the 1930s, would be a department store or possibly Woolworths.
So the copies
they were not expensive to begin with.
How expensive today?
Set of 10, 11, 125
for the entire set.
Yeah, I'm going to come in about $50 to $65, I think, for the entire set.
And if they weren't copies, how much would they be worth?
If they were all hand-painted, that would be the price of one.
Really?
Right.
But they're still very lovely. Yes. Would you like to take some offers on them?
Yes.
Okay.
I certainly would.
We'll do that. Thank you for bringing them in today. And our number to call is 212-802-0082. Susan will be joining us next. Hi, Susan.
Hi.
Tell us about what you brought.
Oh, it's a little Dickens mug, a little pitcher, milk pitcher or something.
How long have you had them?
Oh, about 5 years, I guess.
Got them at a flea market or?
My antique store.
Antique store?
Okay, on the bottom of this it says Dickens Jugs, Germany, with a number on it, and Pickwick spelled incorrectly.
Probably.
Now, what is most famous is the Royal Dalton line.
Yeah, they did a complete line and still do of the, you know, all the characters from Charles Dickens. And this is basically a knockoff of that type of a line of items. The Japanese did the same thing with Toby's and everything depicting the same type of characters. I'm going to put it into that kind of a category as opposed to something of the Royal Dalton family. Right? It's a nice knockoff, a nice add to a collection for someone that collects those kinds of items, but certainly does not.
What?
Probably $5 to $10, I would think, for an item like that.
15 cups.
Is that about what you paid?
No, I paid much less than that.
Oh, much less than that. How much is much less?
Oh, probably about 50 cents.
Oh, well, you're just fine.
So I can't go wrong.
Interested in making a profit and putting it up for sale?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for being with us. We're going to go back out to Chester, Connecticut and see what June has for us. Hi, June. Welcome to the program. What a pretty bowl. Tell us about it.
Yes, I have a Clarice Cliff Jardiniere that I would like to have appraised by Personal FX.
Beautiful color.
That is great. Clarice Cliff, most popular as you come into the Deco period of time, right out of the Depression where everything was so mundane. And then she came in with these beautiful, brightly colored, it's called bazaar wear, and you'll see it on the bottom.
Wear.
Right, it is great, and it gave us great color. And the King and Queen of England decided that they loved it, and that's where it got so popular. Later, she lended her name to other transfer wares, and those should never be confused with this line. This one, it's the crocus one. There are 3 types of crocus: spring, autumn, and purple. This is autumn, I believe.
Is you refer to it as a jardiniere?
It's a planter, yeah, it is a jardiniere. And in this size, it would run in the United States probably close to $1,000.
Whoa.
Yeah, you're looking at 500 to 1,000 for that in England, where she is really more popular than in the United States. You're going to go a lot higher than that. The size and condition is just fantastic for that
Well,
piece.
it's beautiful, it's distinctive. I wouldn't blame you for keeping it, but you do have another option. You could put it up for sale.
Yes, I'd like to take off.
Okay, we'll see and we'll let you know at the end of the program. It is exquisite. And now, let's find out more about Black Mardi Gras memorabilia. John?
All right, Dr. Alvin Montgomery has rejoined us today. Good to see you again, Doctor.
Hi.
Glad you're happy Mardi Gras to you.
Okay.
Now tell us about the Zulus, more about them and where they came from.
Well, the Zulu Social and Pleasure Club is the most prominent African-American club in New Orleans. They were started early in the century, about 1909. They were preceded by another club called the Tramps, started about 1901. And they have, over the years, preserved the tradition of early Black Mardi Gras celebrations. And now they're very, very popular, and they are the best-known club.
What do I have here? What exactly is this?
Oh, this is a members ribbon of the Zulus. This is one of the things that you won't find out in the public. This is actually worn by members. This side, the yellow side, is worn for celebrations, and the other side is worn at funerals. And as you know, funerals are a big deal in New Orleans.
So really, when it comes to black collectibles and black groups involved in the Mardi Gras, Zulu is the one. I mean, they've been around since really, as you said, 1909.
Yeah, they're the oldest, the best known, and they are connected with a lot of the African survival traditions in New Orleans. For example, Louis Armstrong was once the king of Zulu.
That's right. I remember that in the
Every
40s,
year there's a different king and a queen and a court and dukes, etc. Everything in New Orleans has a king, a queen, a court, and a duke.
What is this here?
Oh, well, now that's something that you won't find out in the public, too. This is the members' medallion, worn by members, and it has on it the official insignia of the club, which is the African warrior, the Zulu warrior.
So this is something that the average collector probably can't find.
Probably not. Almost certainly not.
As a matter of fact, there it is. It says members, so you
yes,
really have
exactly.
to have it in.
I was very fortunate to be able to borrow one of these.
Well, let's talk about some of the things that people can find and
Sure.
what they're throwing out in the parades today.
Usually, what's thrown out is doubloons and other types of insignia. Doubloons are small coin metal types of things. And this one here, the silver-colored one, is lighter weight, and that's thrown out to the crowd. The other one is a little heavier. It's distributed as well, but as you see, it has a little heft to it. And there's also, I believe, a silver one for very special persons on special occasions.
So if you're at the parade route and you catch one of these, people know that you've one of the silver
You're a
ones,
little
people know
lucky.
you've been,
Now,
but if you have one of these,
if you're really a good boy, you get one of these.
Oh, well,
the
let's
Zulu
look at
coconut.
that. What is that now?
These are hand-painted coconuts. The Zulu Club, as you know, has an African theme, and preserving the African tradition in Mardi Gras. New Orleans is an amalgam of European and African cultures, and this is one of those hand-painted coconuts that everybody really struggles to get. They're hard to catch, and there aren't too many of them thrown out, but people love them, and they like to preserve them.
You know, when it comes to things that people have, this I think is really interesting. Tell me about this, Doctor.
Well, there are many types of Zulu items now that are distributed. This is the Afro comb.
Right.
Of course, this was most popular in those ages, those times when people had afros. Now, in the era of the baldy, fewer people are using these. Of course, something like this, however, the metal, can be used at all times, and you append this to a blazer or a dress or something like that.
Can these be valuable, especially the older pieces that you just can't find?
Sure, except a lot of the older pieces are in members' personal collections or museums or institutions. Absolutely. New Orleans itself is collectible, and many people like to preserve evidence of their experiences there, their visits there, etc. And there's a whole industry in New Orleans collectibles. There's a little book, as a matter of fact, that gives the values of various doubloons.
Doctor, thank you so much for stopping in today.
Sure.
Really appreciate it.
It was fun. Happy Mardi Gras. That's a good times roll.
That's a good times roll. Well, we just learned a lot. 1901 was the Tramps, and it turned into the Zulus, and we can still find this stuff today.
Well, I'm a New Orleanian, so this is really great stuff for me, and
this
I
is
love
a big deal.
This is my home stuff.
Some of the stuff he had to borrow from his brother, I have to tell you that. Many ways to get in touch with us here at Personal FX. Let me tell you how you can do that. You can call us at that Sprint-sponsored 1-800-FX-FX-FX1 number, or there's the music. I knew that was coming in at some point. You can fax us 212-802-4201, or if you want, you can always write us a letter. Personal FX, The Collectibles Show, P.O. Box 825, Madison Square Station, New York, New York, 10159-0825. Let's get a preview of the very next item that's going to be appraised on today's show. Out in Connecticut, belongs to Shirley. Hi, Shirley. What do you have?
Yes, hi. I have an 18th century silk embroidery piece I'd like to have appraised next on Personal FX.
From the guy who brought you 90210 and Melrose Place, now you can see Vegas at no extra charge. That is crazy. Dan Tana and Vegas, weekdays at 10, only on FX.
Mom, the dog.
Ooh.
It's just laying on the bun.
That dog needs a new trick. Beat the cold bun blues with Pillsbury Crescent Dog. Just wrap them and bake them.
Aren't his buns cute?
Thanks.
Hit $250 billion in sales like McDonald's, you're in the Business Hall of Fame. Hit $1 trillion in real estate transactions like the Century 21 system, you're in a class by yourself. You're the #1 real estate system. And when you're this big, you can do things others can't, like average a home bought or sold by our customers every minute, every day. No wonder, in a nationwide survey, homeowners said they'd most likely use Century 21 by 4 to 1 over the nearest competitor. So call #1, Century 21.
When Bill's back pain acts up, life stops. I hate to see him suffer. Bill would never call the doctor himself, so I called. The doctor recommended the formula in new Aspergel. It's a clear gel. You just rub it in for deep penetrating relief right where the muscles hurt. And Aspergel doesn't have a nasty medicine smell. But what I love most is his pain is gone.
Without pain, life is great. New Aspergel does not contain aspirin.
When Sam was hurting, he'd take Tylenol. But hours later, he'd have to take more. Then he discovered Aleve. He could take just 2 all day.
Tylenol is taking up to 8.
Aleve works up to 12 hours.
Aleve, all day strong, all day long.
We're InstiPrints. If you've got a business, we've got a great idea. Save some time and save some money. Watch a great idea come to life at InstiPrints.
National Flood Insurance Program covers you from the damage caused by floods. Call now, because while most disasters in the United States involve floods, most homeowners' policies don't cover flood damage.
How are we ever going to pay for this?
Flood insurance is easy to get. Just call your insurance company, agent, or this number. The National Flood Insurance Program. We can't replace your memories, but we can help you build new ones.
Welcome back to Personal FX. Now, this would be a good day to be in New Orleans for Mardi Gras.
1 million people tonight. 1 million people.
You gotta like crowds, though.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's tell you about the items that right now we are getting bids on. If you want to join the bidding process, it's not too late. We have the New York Yankees print that has an appraised value of $150. It's across Collectibles, Sports, and Bruriana. It's in good condition, and it was a giveaway by the Ballantine Beer Company. And we have the German doll that is not, unfortunately, in the best of condition, but it can be restored, $75. And the walking stick that we saw in Connecticut dates back to 1888, that is, with 14-karat gold top. It has an appraised value of $600.
Then we have the rabbit from the 1930s. This is in good shape, and this was appraised at $25 to $45.
Friendly rabbit.
Friendly rabbit. Then we've got the Roosevelt vase, and this was appraised at $175 to $200 in the pine cone pattern, and that is one of the most popular patterns there. And we also have the ceramic creamer, and this is a knockoff of a line that makes Dickens characters, and this was appraised at $5 to $15.
If you'd like to join that bidding process, here's what you do. Call us at 212-802-0082.
To Connecticut we go, where Shirley has joined us. Hi, Shirley. How are you?
Yes, hi, I'm fine, thank you.
Great. Tell us more about what you have there.
I have a silk embroidery piece that I think is from the 19th century. I don't know much more about it than that.
All right. Let's see what the appraisers have to say.
Okay, I need the camera to go, dyslexia, left-hand side to what looks like a monument right there, because this appears to be, oh no, that's a house.
The house, right.
Okay. and the stitches, it looked like it was part of a memorial sampler.
Yeah, it looks like it was something at one time more than what it is right now. Do you know, out of the frame, if that's been cut around or anything like that around the edges to fit into that frame?
No, it has not. It's still on the original embroidery hoop in the back.
Okay. And I do I see correctly on the right-hand side of her left arm, there's some damage, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's silk over the linen supporting it right now. All right, in the condition it is, I still contend that it is the beginnings of a memorial theme. I'm going to put an appraised value of $400 to $600 on it.
I'm not fond of what looks like some discoloration and the damage to it, so I'm gonna drop that down to about 150. Again, not being able to really see how much it's going to
because the value's going to go down because of the damage.
Real quick, what do you mean a memorial theme? What does that mean?
If you lived in that period of time and your parents died and you were a young lady, you would make a memorial sampler for their birth and death dates.
And we think that's what this might be. So anywhere from $150 to $600?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think, Shirley? Do you want to take some bids on that? You want to hold on to it?
Yes, I'll entertain some offers.
Let's see what happens. Thank you for bringing that by. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay.
And let's go to the mailbag right now. We have a letter that was written by John Perotti from St. Anthony, Idaho, who writes to us, I've enclosed pictures of 2 candlestick holders and a compote. The only marks on the piece are the numbers 652, 651, and WB Manufacturing Company. There seems to be some kind of varnish on the pieces that has yellowed with age. The etched floral design in the bowl of the compote has long-tailed birds that scatter throughout the piece. The compote and candlesticks are mounted on a pillar with a sailing ship. All 3 pieces are in good condition.
Looks like a decorative item just from the 40s or 50s of no great base metal.
Right.
Just for decorative purposes from that time frame, I'm going to put $100 on them.
Yeah, about $50, I think. 50 to 100, I think, for that.
All right. John, thank you so much for your letter.
Okay, our next letter comes out of Eugene, Oregon. Ginny Darkins wrote in, and Ginny says, I have a bronze signal cannon that I would like to have appraised. It measures 7 inches long and 3 inches tall, and on the back of the cannon there is the head of a lion. On the top of the cannon there is an anchor design with the Roman numerals 17. I purchased this at a garage sale a few years ago.
Well, I think that is just a garage sale find from the 20th century. These items were very popular again in the 40s and 50s, used as bookends, table crunchers, whatever, paperweights, appraised value about $20, $25.
Yeah, I'm going to come in about $10 for something like that. There's an awful lot of that type of item out there, and it is generally a flea market type of item.
Table cruncher?
Cruncher paper.
All right. Well, there you go, Jenny. Thanks so much for writing in. Appreciate that. Table cruncher.
Yes, and next on the telephone right now is Peggy Appel from East Wenatchee, Washington. Hi, Peggy. Welcome to the program.
Hi.
We'd love to hear more about your Mickey Mouse watch that you wrote about.
Well, all I can really tell you is a toy. Something I received probably when I was like 5 or 4 years old. Made by Mark's Toys. And it does have the Walt Disney protection. Name on the backside. I don't know what else to say.
Okay, and as you wrote, the face of the watch is a little bit bigger than a quarter, because there it is.
Yeah.
Okay. What you should have done is taken the photograph with Mickey's face shown. I think it's the Mickey Mouse Club era, 1950s.
I'm going to go 50s or 1960s even, because it's plastic. And of course, Mark's was the biggest toy manufacturer in the 1950s. They did a lot of work like this. This, unfortunately, is not the rare Mickey Mouse watch that everybody hopes that they own.
Does it work?
It doesn't work as a watch. You can turn the hands and move it. Like I said, it's just a toy. It clicks, and it'll move the hands slightly, but it will not keep time.
That's a little kid's toy.
It was meant to teach time.
Right, for a little kid, right.
Appraised value, I'm going to put about $75 on it.
Yeah, I'm going to come in about $40 on that particular piece.
Is it something that you were thinking about putting up for sale, or you're planning to keep?
No, I'll gladly put it up for sale.
We'll be happy to do that for you. Thanks for being on the line today. So they made Mickey Mouse watch toys. It's all time.
That makes sense. All right, folks, don't go anywhere. Coming up next, we've got the big bids. Stay with us.
So what do you think? Which is it?
Every town has its share of conflict.
I'm a transsexual.
My daughter's in his class.
Every town has its share of tragedies.
Is he going to die?
Dear God in heaven. And through all the struggles,
I don't even know who you are anymore.
every family must find a way to triumph.
The good in this world still outweighs the evil.
The people, the problems, the solutions. Take a look beyond the picket fences. Every day at 1 p.m., 12 Central, only on FX.
Pillsbury pizza crust. Just unroll, top it any way you like it, and bake for a crisp golden crust.
Nothing makes pizzas rock and roll like my Pillsbury pizza crust.
Want a great way to top your Pillsbury pizza crust? Pep it up with Hormel pepperoni.
What's new in potty training? New pull-ups training pants. Totally redesigned to motivate training as no diaper can. They're trimmer with new big kid designs for boys and girls, like real underwear. And now there's just as much protection as a diaper. Diapers can't give your child that big kid feeling. Pull-ups can. And that's the best motivation to train there is.
Mommy, wow! I'm a big kid now.
How you and Brenda doing? Oh, man, she's got no respect for time in the morning. I warned you, didn't I? She's like controlling my life. Get used to it, man. Yeah, well, while I'm getting used to her, I just missed breakfast. Learn to anticipate. What's this?
Kellogg's Nutri-Grain bars. Still low fat, still made with whole grain, still delicious strawberry taste.
Oh, that's all right, man.
Yeah, it's good. But now Kellogg's Nutri-Grain bars have even more strawberry taste.
I tell you, she's got me tied up in knots. I can see that. Oh, Brenda, baby, come on, man. You're spoiling her.
Let me tell you about fish sticks. They're crunchy, and it tastes really good. You can pick them up. You don't have to chop it up like this, all to pieces, and you dip it in. V-A-N, to can. I usually eat 4 or 5.
Vandicamps, the fish kids like to eat.
You should get your mom to get some.
I've said goodbye to bath bars. I don't even bother with body lotion. Now all I use is this. It's this 2-in-1 moisturizing body wash from Oil of Olay. Little dab on the puff, jump in the shower. Suddenly there's this wonderful moisturizing lather. Much better at moisturizing than the leading bath bar. And the Olay moisturizers are actually absorbed by my skin. My skin feels so much softer and younger.
Oil of Olay 2-in-1 moisturizing body wash. For moisturized skin, the leading beauty bar doesn't touch.
Body lotion? I don't even think about it.
Welcome back to Personal FX. Before we get started with the big bids, let's all thank Dr. Montgomery for stopping by. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let's get started with these things. Kurt with the Yankees team print. William from Johnson City, New York, called in with an offer of $200.
Sold.
Tony with the German doll. Regina from Ravenna, Ohio, called in with an offer of $220.
So,
yeah. Let's go out to Connecticut, where John brought the walking stick. Albert from Hohenwald, Tennessee, called in with an offer of $650. Okay. Sounds good. That's a sold. All right.
I think that's a sold, John.
Okay.
And Stephanie Anthea Rabbit, we have an offer from Liberty from Pasadena, California for $177.50. Sold. Pam for the Roseville Vase. Janice from Newport Beach, California would like it for $300. Sold. And Susan for the Creamer, Paula from Waco, Texas, is offering $25. Sold.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. Let's go see what's up for tomorrow with